Good morning all, this is Kosala, also known as Marventus, with yet another Zerg strategy video. For those of you who've been following on from my previous casts, you'll know that I cast my own games, and the purpose of the exercise is to document my learning experience as I move up the Bronze League, or hopefully move up the Bronze League, for everyone else to learn from. Now this was my first proper Zerg victory. When I say proper, I mean this is where I figured out how to play Zerg properly, and actually turned out pretty well. Now as you can see, this is a whopping 1 hour 17 minute game. So I'm not going to cast the entire thing at normal speed. I'll try and limit this to 2 or 3 videos to go through the entire thing, but I do want to cover some of the aspects I learned in detail so it becomes a meaningful sort of cast. So here we go. I am spawning as the red Zerg in the top left position. In the bottom right position we have our undaunted opponent Bad Karma, who is the blue Terran. But who we are going to be pawning during the course of this game, as you will see. Right, but let's get a production tab up and go through the basics. If I can actually make this work, let's take a look. I'm clicking, there it is, and oh my goodness, it's up now. Fantastic. First major hurdle out of the way. And here we go. What's happening here? I have got a spawning pool coming up at 9 supply. This has now become my standard way to rock and roll. But I give birth to drones up until I hit 10 supply, then I convert one of them to a spawning pool. You'll notice at this point no overloads yet. I wait for that to be done. And as soon as that's out of the way, an overload comes up next. Although I don't really need to wait for that to be done. I could have done it at 100 minerals there, but I did do it. There, you see, I'm smarter than I think. Right, overload out there, and spawning pool about to be done soon. Now I've started scouting. Scouting is super important, right? Because Zerg is a reactive sort of class or race to play. I can't say that often enough. We Zerg, we react. That's why we are. That's just the way it is. Right, so you don't really do very much of anything until you see what your opponent is doing, because otherwise you're going to be wind up wasting minerals like crazy. Now the reason we get away with doing this is because we can spawn units really quickly. Let's see what we're doing here. We've got our first batch of Zerg here, little Zerglings, and off they go to investigate where our opponent is. Now on this map, of course, I believe this is Jungle Basin, so I know that my opponent is there. And I'm just trying to figure out what exactly he's doing. And while this is going on, what comes next? More drones and a queen as fast as possible. There's our queen out right there. Why do we need the queen? Because of her spawn lava ability, which keeps our lava population growing, and the all-important spawn creep tumor. I can't say enough good things about the creep tumor, and I'll show you why later on in the game. My Zergling ran up to the base, got nuked by a bunch of Marines, and I can see clearly that I've got a basic war lane going on here from our Terran opponent, exactly as he should be. Not sure why I decided to sacrifice those Zerglings. I probably forgot to micro them well. And then his economy is doing relatively decently. So what does this tell us? It tells us that he's going in for either an early push with Marines, or he's bunkering down for the long haul. Both of these two things are not too bad for us, really. So what are we doing? In the early game, we're not producing a lot of units. I plopped up one spine crawler in case a marine rushes me. I have my queen working at increasing our creep and increasing the lava, and I've got both of my gases up. At this point, I'm droning away. Main focus is to drone away, not producing huge amounts of units, because right now I have no idea what's coming my way. Now, second, let me just see if I've scouted this one. Not yet. So his second command center is going up, which means that our initial assessment was correct. He is actually trying to hunker down for the long haul, which, as far as being Zerg is concerned, is absolutely excellent. That's what you want, because you want to spread out quickly, and you want to get bases up quickly, and you want to control the map. So, most important lessons: get that drone count up and running. Spread out into new bases quickly. Control the map. It's absolutely essential that you control the map, and I'll show you why as the game progresses. I'm going to speed this up a little bit now as we're heading into past the 6-minute mark, and you'll see that I have got both Zernaga towers to give me the vision I wanted, and I've gone and parked overlords at bases or at potential base points to make sure that nobody's spreading out in any direction that I don't know about. Here comes his first scan. What have I got so far? I've got not a whole lot for him to see. I'm droning away. I've got a spawning pool. I've got my roach warren up. Let's get this back to normal. Now, after the spawning pool, I like to get the roach warren up. Why do I do this? Because eventually the zerglings are not going to be terribly useful, and if there is a marine rush or a bio rush of any kind, the roaches are excellent to have. So roach warren oftentimes the next thing to go up. Now let's take a look at the drone count here. I've got almost 2 rows of drones happening. I've still got my zergling watching the front wall because I want to know when he starts moving out. And what's happening here? Yeah, he's done what he's supposed to do. He's got something to scout his back entrance to the base, and he's got his second base droning away. So far we're both good. Now at this point I've got 216 minerals. In later games past this one I actually spread out to a second base much sooner. But right now I seem to have got up a second spine crawler as defense, which is never a bad idea. You do need to have a little bit of defense, because eventually something is going to come your way. And let's just spawn this further away. While we're waiting for this to mosey on, I'll have you know that this morning in the United Kingdom of England, it is an absolutely stunning day. Crisp white snow on the ground, sun shining, crispy air outside my mega window that I'm sitting at when I'm doing this cast. It's actually optimal Starcraft casting weather. Excellent stuff. Right, let's see, more overlord spawning. Now here's an important thing I learned over the last few games. Do not become supply blocked, because eventually you'll have some sort of flying unit come and try to nuke down your overlords, and you don't want to be supply blocked. So pop out more overlords than you need, preferably quite a bit more than you need. Don't go nuts about it, but do pop out quite a bit more than you need. Let's take a look at our drone count. Now we're heading towards 2 full rows, while at the same time having popped out most of the important buildings. We have our spire up, we've got our roach warren up, we've got our spawning pool up, and we've teched up to a lair, or are teching up to a lair. And at this point we're at 30th supply. We are 11 minutes into the game. Oddly, we haven't been attacked yet. Now generally a Terran opponent will send out some sort of initial foray. That hasn't happened, so we're so far good to go. I've come up with 1 Mutalisk, a couple more on the way, just to make sure that I've got some sort of air coverage and to scout what's going on. So here goes my Mutalisk. Away he goes into the corner, gonna come around the side, and is going to spot the second command center. Now remember, at this point, what we've done is we've assumed that he's either coming in with a bio ball attack or he's fast expanding. So the moment we see this second command center, we know that he's fast expanded. And if he's gone and spent a bunch of money doing this, then he definitely does not have a bunch of money to create a massive army. And as you can see, he doesn't have a massive army. He's barely got 2 rows of marines. This is no problem whatsoever for us to deal with. So we are doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing, starting to spread out. Now look at the creep tumoring. This is something I'm starting to get right lately. Right, the creep tumors are absolutely essential. Spread those out well. I popped out a few roaches. I've got massive amounts of overlords popping out here and there. Queen is popping out lava. And here we're going to go for our very first little sneak peek, the second scouting round. It's essential to do this because you need to know that your first scouting round's conclusions were actually correct. He's moving out a little bit with his marines here, but that gets stopped in a hurry when we come in and start messing with his mineral line. La-da-di-da, death of SCVs. This is good, this is very good. Mess with the mineral line. Always do this, mess with the mineral line. Marines are popping out to take a look at our overlords. And we're still messing with the mineral line, and he's got turrets up. Now let me pause this for a second here to show you one very cool thing when playing with Terrans that are, or at least the ones in the Bronze League that I know about. They go completely nuts when it comes to turrets. And turrets are expensive. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 turrets, and after I do this run with Mutalisks, what's gonna happen is that he's gonna panic even more and he's gonna create even more turrets. This is excellent for us because it means he's wasting all of his minerals creating a bunch of turrets we don't care about, because we're not gonna come at him with Mutalisks anyway. We're gonna upgrade from Mutalisks to Corruptors and keep those floating around in the middle of the field, as you will see in just a second. Well, no, not just a second, in about, say, 30 minutes or so, but nonetheless, right, yes. Here we go, Mutalisk making a comeback. We now know what he's doing. We've scouted the entire base. We can see the 2 barracks. We can see that there's only 1 factory. We can see there's a Ghost Academy. Ghosts are a freaking irritation. How do we respond to this? We start creating some Overseers. Right, because Overseers are good. Overseers spy hidden units, and we want to start sending these out a little bit into the field, which we will start doing. There's one over there now. We have our... Oh, did our Overlord survive? No, he didn't. He went down, yes. So we can assume that since the Marines came popped in here, that this might be a potential future expansion point. He's walking out with a few Marines to scout us out and see what's what, which indeed he should do. And Creep Tumor now starting to spread out. Now you see again, I haven't gotten my second base yet, and I've sort of left this very, very late. In games that came after this, I was a lot more robust about expanding early, which I'll show you in future casts. But actually, I've left this one pretty late. And my guy is just heading out to start his base now. So this is at 40 supply with 680 minerals sitting out there. And I've got all my upgrades running as well. And this is essential. If your Terrans have, or if your opponent has left you, right, oh, here he comes, he's coming to poke around. Little does he know that we're well armed and taken care of, and bing, bing, blang, blang, he's dead. And that's how that went. And mysteriously, he scouted none of this stuff, because he went round the other side of the base, so all he saw was a crawler, and oh, actually did he? Perhaps I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take a look. Oop. I am going to start reading down this particular video at this point and follow through on the next one because I'm running out of time. I've only got 15 minutes per video on YouTube. My goodness, what can you do in 15 minutes that matters? Alright, but goodbye for now. I shall be back in just a little while with video number 2.